Hi there, this is Chris. I wanted to go over some of the frequently asked, sometimes asked questions and some of the suggestions and ideas from backers out there already. So I'm going to go over a little bit of some technical details and just some cool ways to use the dice tower that have come up by backers and suggestions. So one thing that is maybe not clear right away when you look at some of the videos and pictures is that there are actually two ramps inside the dice tower that allow you to get more randomization of your dice. And to show that a little better, I made this cutaway version. So you can see the two ramps inside the dice tower. And this cutaway version also is a nice way to show these little ridges in here that add more impacts to your dice and more randomization as they come down. So they're just big enough to knock the dice around, but not big enough to make them get stuck anywhere. And one thing that may be not as clear in another video as well is this gap here. So this gap is really the limiting feature of the dice tower as far as the size of dice that can fit through here. And as I showed in another video, but it's a little more clear here, as you can see that opening is just over an inch, maybe an inch and an eighth, but I would say any dice up to an inch should fit there. So the Star Wars Destiny dice, are a little less than an inch, so they fit through that gap. And there has been a suggestion to make this piece, this upper ramp, removable, which I'm looking into. That might be something we can do down the road, maybe as a stretch goal or something, so we could have that snap in and out. And I'm looking into that. But for right now, this measurement of an inch is about the limiting factor inside the dice tower. So those are kind of the technical specs that have come up so far in the campaign. Let me show you some other cool suggestions and ideas that people have had for using it, and some other ways that you can use the tower. So one suggestion that one of the backers said that I should make clear is the fact that you can pass this around to other players to kind of show that it's their turn and remind them that it's time to go. So that's a nice feature of this, is it's small enough and light enough that you can just pass that around like that. Also, another backer suggested that I show how light it is, so that if you're having trouble getting dice out, and I always at least leave the D4 in there, it never picks up very well, but I always leave a die or two in there. So if you've got kind of the fat fingers, their suggestion was to show how light and easy you can just dump the dice into another extra tray, and then when you're ready to roll, just dump them out into the dice tower, so you can use the dice tower in that way. I thought that was a pretty nice, easy suggestion. Another suggestion, so I showed in another video where you can use these as risers to elevate the dice tower, and then you can use that to roll into a box top. One user suggested hooking the dice tower onto the corner of a box top. So now you've got it hooked on the corner there. It's nice and stable, and you can use that for your rolls into the box top. So you don't even need those risers. If you're comfortable doing that with your box top, it stays on there pretty solidly, and allows you to use the box top for rolling there. So that's another nice little feature. And some people have just asked me to give a little bit more detailed view of the score pad. So we'll kind of zoom in on that. So the score pad, we're going to get nice and close there. Starts at 0 and then goes along the track up to 10, and then goes along down there to 20, up to 30. So it just kind of keeps zigzagging back and forth up until you get to down here to 990 or 99 points. And then at that point, you'd move your peg over into the hundreds score area there, and then you'd use another peg if you want to keep track of scores past 100. So if you had a peg here and a peg, right in there, you'd have 64 points. So that's a nice way to keep track, and you've got hundreds tally marks all the way up to 900, so you could do a score up to 999 technically. So that's a good way to keep track of bigger scores. And then on the back here, the final version will actually have 2 more rows for pegs, so you'll be able to keep 8 pegs inside of here. You can see these are the standard size cribbage pegs. You could maybe fit something a little bit bigger than a standard plastic cribbage peg in there. And they just slide out by friction, so you just slide it out of the hole and then use it to keep track of your score. And then when you're ready to push it back in there, you just use your fingernail to kind of squeeze it back in there, and they stay in there nice and sturdily. And then some questions on the little riser piece. So this is the piece that slides in and out of the face of the dice tower to keep it all sealed up when you've got it in the storage configuration. But then if you want to, you can use this as a way to elevate the score pad so that everyone around the table can see what's going on. Or if you just don't want that, you can put that aside and just have the score pad laying on the ground. You can use this as, I don't know why you may want to do that, but it can have it up flat and just laying on the table as well. So there's a lot of cool different ways you can use both the score pad and this little riser part as well. So thanks for all your questions and comments so far on the Dice Tower and our Kickstarter campaign, and don't hesitate to reach out with more questions and comments, because that's what really makes this process great, is the fact that you all get to contribute. So thanks a lot, and happy gaming.